So let's go a little bit further. Let's take another scientist, like today he's present, he's alive, Nick Herbert. He's saying one of the greatest scientific achievements imaginable would be the discovery of explicit relationship between waveform alphabets of quantum theory and certain human states of consciousness. Then we have Leibniz here, around about 1646 to 1716, a great philosopher as well. He says reality cannot be found except in one single source because of the interconnection of all the things with one another. I do not conceive any reality at all as without genuine unity. I maintained also that substances, whether material or immaterial, cannot be conceived in their bare essence without any activity, activity being the essence of substance in general. David Bohm here, the ability to perceive or think differently is more important than the knowledge gained. Light is what unfolds all the universe. Light in its generalized sense, not just ordinary light, is the means by which the entire universe unfolds into itself. A word about David Bohm later on. Max Planck. These are the fundamental fathers of quantum mechanics, and look at the way they think. Science, it says, cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature. And that is because in the last analysis, we ourselves are part of the mystery we are trying to solve. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. The mind is the matrix of all matter. And that matrix is ideally what we discussed yesterday, the 3 by 3. That is the matrix. We are imprisoned in that matrix, and the idea of all that is to get out of that matrix, get out of that blanket, get out of that mirror, and you shall be free after that. And you will be able to go into the mirror and out of the mirror at will. And that is the ultimate truth of any kind of philosophy. You know, be Shinto in Japan, same thing. You're asked to focus on that, look into that. So hopefully one day you will see that there is a mirror inside me and I need to get out of it because I am imprisoned in the mirror as an observer. I want to see what that consciousness is, which is on the outside of the mirror. Once you see that consciousness, then the observer is free. Till then, the observer is in this mirror, and when he closes his eye, all the observer can see is darkness. It's a blackout. Yet in that blackout, he knows he exists. There's something alive in that darkness. The darkness is not the same as the darkness in a room when you switch off the light. This is internal darkness. But in that darkness lies the secret, the mirror. And the whole object of this seminar is to get into that and how to get out of that and to the other side of the mirror. I have a great admiration for this Louis de Broglie, and he says, after long reflection in solitude and meditation, here again you can see how the scientists are actually doing yoga, I suddenly had the idea during the year 1923 that the discovery made by Einstein in 1905 should be generalized by extending it to all material particles and notably to electrons, i.e. they're all waves. And the last one who really put the spanner in quantum mechanics was John Bell, Irish physicist, and he's the one who proved that reality is non-local. This is after Einstein's death. If Einstein was alive, he would have really congratulated this man. This man here has really, as I said again, I don't mind repeating it, put the spanner in the whole of quantum physics. And he said, physicist John Bell feels it is likely that the new way of seeing things will involve an imaginative leap that will astound us. Indeed, something beyond the ordinary physics awaits. And the only physicist I have admiration for is also Ewing Wigner, who was a great, he was Nobel Prize winner in quantum physics. it was not possible to formulate the laws of quantum theory in a fully consistent way without reference to consciousness. He was one of them who actually brought that point out. Nobody believed him. Everybody thought he's whack out, he's not right. But I have admiration for saying that out front. And we have the last one here, Albert Einstein. And I quite like his words here. I want to know how God created this world. I'm not interested in this or that phenomenon in the spectrum of this or that element. I want to know his thoughts, the rest are details. Einstein stated that the principal premise of naturalistic approach, we are seeking, he said, for the simplest possible scheme of thought that will bind together the observed facts. So he is into simplicity. God must be simple. It cannot be complicated the way we are trying to make it out to be. And taken the views of all these scientists, from Max Planck to Einstein, it appears that none of them are sure, including Roger Penrose, that all physics is wrong. There's something not right about the way we are looking at things. And today, for the first time, we'll see why they are wrong. And I hope I will manage to show you that this is the way it should be looked upon, and it'll make all the sense there is to it. So if you just, if I just pause for a moment. Penrose holds until they see past the blinding distractions of today's half-baked theories. In other words, all the physicists today are very keen to show this is the theory of everything. What that means is they have four forces in nature and they're trying to unite into one, two strong and two weak forces, and then saying this is it, this is the theory of everything. But in none of those, they take into account the consciousness of the person. So they cannot be true. The observer has to be part of the system, and today for the first time we'll see how he can be. Now, before I start, as Einstein was so fundamentally changed the concept of space and time, starting with de Broglie to Schrodinger's equation, and then David Bohm, we will go through that sequence and how we arrive at this holographic model, which will make all the sense of life and understanding of every discipline there is. Because if you look at Kermit Blanket, science is taking care of it because it's study of earth, water, and air and space. Then comes mind, intelligence, ego. That's all psychology, and that's it. We can't go beyond that. These psychologists today have a problem of understanding what self really is. And I forgot the name of the Canadian psychologist. It's great. I forgot his name at the moment, but he said unless we understand the self, psychology will not make sense at all. A great physicist, psychologist, but I forget his name at the moment. Anyhow, so this is the most recent look at it. Now, Schrodinger said something amazing, and in 1925 he expressed his debt to Vedic views before he created quantum theory. Now, isn't that interesting? He was studying Vedas before quantum theory came up. And this is the most important paragraph that affected me. He said, this life of yours which you are living is not merely a piece of this existence. It's not just a piece of existence, but is in a certain sense the whole. Only this whole is not so constructed that it can be surveyed in one single glance. Now this is very deep, but he's actually explaining the hologram without him realizing it. In other words, I am a piece of existence here, for instance, but is in a certain sense the whole. I'm a piece of, and I am a whole, But the problem is, it is so constructed that it can be surveyed, it cannot be so constructed, surveyed in one single glance. In other words, if I'm standing here and I want to see the moon or the sun, I just am not able to see it because the way I'm constructed. And that is so beautiful. And it'll make sense when we study holograms, why you cannot. And this, as we know, is what Brahmins express in their sacred mystic formula, which is yet really so simple and so clear, like Tattvam Asi, this is you, or again in such words as I am in the east and the west, I am above and below, I am the entire world. Now, Tattvam Asi is one of the main sentences of one of the Vedas. There are 4 Vedas, and there's a 5th one also. But the 4 Vedas have 4 main sentences. One of them is Tattvamasi, the other is Aham Brahmasmi, the other one is Aham Atman, and the 4th one is Sarva Khalidam Brahm. Now, these are the main sentences of the Vedas that explain the awareness totally.